So talking a little bit more about the relationship between the size of the angle and the size of the opposite side in this triangle, we've talked about the idea that the biggest side is across from the biggest angle and the smallest side is across from the smallest angle, but it also works in reverse, all right? If I have the side measurements, I can determine which angle is the biggest and which angle is the smallest and which angle is in between, all right? So once again, just using this in reverse, the smallest angle is across from the smallest side. The biggest angle is across from the biggest side. And so when we look at something like this guy, if I wanted to list these angles now from least to greatest, I just have to look at the side measurements and say, okay, the smallest angle will be across from the smallest side. So for this particular example, I say, hey, right here, this is the smallest side, which means the angle across from it, the alligator that's eating that side, is angle 2. So angle 2 is the smallest angle. So angle 2 is the smallest. The next one up right here is 20. So the next smallest angle is the angle 1 right here. It's the one that's across from that angle. It's the alligator that's eating that side. So angle 1 is next. And then the biggest angle on this one, well, the biggest side this time, the biggest side is the 27. So the biggest angle is the side, or is the angle across from that side, which is angle 3. So just like we've been doing in terms of, sorry, I was trying to erase there, but just like we've been doing in terms of finding the comparison of the side lengths based on the angles they're across from, well, now I can do the same thing, but in reverse, okay? The biggest side was across from the biggest angle, but now the biggest angle has to be across from the biggest side. The smallest angle has to be across from the smallest side, okay? If I look at the next one, same kind of thing. Right now, the smallest side on this one, the smallest side is this guy right here, is the 6. So the angle across from that is angle 1. So angle 1 is the smallest angle. The next in terms of the order here is 8. So the angle across from that is the 2. So angle 2 is the next one in terms of size. And then the biggest of these has got to be the 10, and that's across from angle 3. So angle 3 is the biggest angle. And so again, I'm doing the same thing. We can think about the same way if we want to use the little alligator analogy. We look at this and say, hey, side 6, well, this is the alligator. I draw the alligator that's eating that side. Well, that's the smallest gator. That's the smallest angle. The next one, when I look at the 8, I say, okay, here's the 8. Here's the alligator eating the 8 right here. And so the angle 2 is the next size angle up. And then the largest angle, once again, if I identify the longest side as this one, well, here's the alligator eating that side, if you like that analogy, okay? And so that's the biggest angle because it's across from the biggest side. And that's it. So it's the same thing we've been doing, but kind of in reverse. If I know the angle measurement, I can determine which sides are bigger than what other sides, okay? But if I have the side measurements, now I can determine the order of the angles in terms of their size, okay?